Hi, and welcome to the S.J. Child Show. The S.J. Child Show brings value to families through education, resources, and lots of laughs. You can find us on our social media pages Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find our special children's books at sjchilds.org. This month is April Autism Action Month. All of our guests in April will be autism warriors, and we are celebrating them and bringing this to the forefront. Enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to the S.J. Child Show. I'm your host, S.J. Childs, and today our guest is Mathew Klickstein. Mathew is I'll let him tell you, he is a whole lot of things, and I'm so happy he's here today. So hi,
Hi, SJ. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Tell us about your what you do and your projects that you're currently working on.
I guess the easiest thing to say about me is that I'm a writer. I've always written. I've been writing books since I was 13 years old, 200, 300 pages. I've written screenplays, plays, articles for newspapers, magazines, online outlets, and pretty much anything else that you can imagine. I also produce and direct films, mostly documentaries. I tend to focus a lot on pop culture history. So my work has spanned the history of Nickelodeon. I worked with one of the writers for The Simpsons, who's been writing for the show since it started. He's one of two, on his book about The Simpsons that came out a few years ago. And other projects along those lines. Right now, we're doing an oral history of the San Diego Comic-Con, which has actually been around since 1970. And really, It's about kind of the fandom community itself. We go all the way back to 1939 with the first science fiction convention.
So cool.
Yeah, and so that's been great. We've been working on that all year. And in fact, one of the things we're hoping we can talk about is how we were able to do all this during pandemic and COVID. I mean, we were starting to put it together even before that happened, and we're planning on doing all these interviews. And then suddenly, we have to do it all remotely. We spoke to over 50 people who were involved in the con, and then of course, some celebrity special guests, all the people you would think would be in something like this, Kevin Smith and Neil Gaiman and Frank Miller and Bruce Campbell, and some really fun people that it's been really neat to get to talk to, or some of them have just contributed stories. But that'll be out through SiriusXM later this year. Comic-Con begins. And then poking around on a few other projects as well. As I like to always say, I keep my website pretty up to date. So anyone who's interested, after hearing this and anything else I've been doing or am doing, www.mathewklickstein.com. It's Mathew with one T, Klickstein with a K. So I love working, and I feel really grateful that I can keep doing what I do, whether there's a lockdown or not. So
yeah, see, I told you he was talented. I couldn't have. That was a mouthful. Yeah, so many things that you do. Writing, I'm also an author. I love to write, and like you, I remember writing at such an early age, writing poetry, writing Renaissance stories, of what I pictured I would be like a princess, things like that. It was so much fun to delve into the world of words, I think. So yeah, that is. And, I love that it's also brought you to producing and, directing and because I think that you can take those creative talents and really switch them and show them also in a visual way. So yeah, that's amazing. Tell me about the Kids of Widney High. We were talking about that last time, and I really want to talk about that and touch on that. So let's talk about that.
Sure. I went to film school at USC. And as soon as I got there, just because of a longtime interest I'd had in working with people with disabilities and stories that revolved around people with disabilities, also outsider art, going back to the likes of Jean Dubuffet and those kinds of people and those kinds of writings and so forth. I've always been very passionate about that. So as I like to tell people, literally in the first 2 weeks or so of getting to school at USC, I don't even think I was 18 yet, two different people told me about the Kids of Widney High and played me some of their music. And I just immediately said, oh, I have to find out what this band's all about and get some of their music for myself. They had been around since the late 80s. This was 1999 at the time when I first went to USC. This was the time, I don't even think MySpace had been out yet, and there's no YouTube or anything like that. So it was the real early days of the internet, or at least the version of it that we have now. So it was really hard to find a Kids of Widney High album online, and I couldn't find any at the stores that I went to. Finally, I just threw my arms up and decided to email the website, the Kids of Widney High official website. And luckily, there was at least that. So I hit up the website and I said, hey, I'm trying to find a Kids of Widney High album or two. I would love to get one. Can I order one from you or something like that? And because I was using my USC email address, the person that responded, Michael Monaghan, who was the head of the kids, their teacher of the music class from Widney High School, that is a special ed high school in Los Angeles from which they were based, emailed me right back and said, hey, you're at USC. We're right around the corner from you. Why don't you come by for a class sometime and we'll talk and I can give you a few albums. So it was just a total coincidence that I had heard about the Kids of Widney High, not once, but twice in my first few weeks at USC, that I happened to use my USC email to hit them up. It happened to be around the corner. If I had a bike, I probably could have ridden my bike there. So I drove over, sat in on the class, was completely intoxicated, really loved what I saw, because Michael Monaghan himself, who has become almost like an uncle to me, very avuncular, is a real guru type and just a true person, an authentic person, the perfect person to lead a group like the Kids of Widney High. It was just this music songwriting class that he did at this special ed high school, again, from which the band was based out of. And then he needed a ride somewhere for some reason. I think he couldn't get his car out because it was stuck in the parking lot or something like that. So somewhere for lunch. I happened to have a Donovan album in my car at the time, a Donovan CD. He loved Donovan, and then we started kind of connecting on that and music from the 60s, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, etc. And just really hit it off. And he basically said, if you want to come back and check us out, or if you want to help out in class or anything, feel free. And as I like to say too, anyone who went to USC with me knows that for the next 4 years, I always found ways of bringing the Kids of Widney High in any short film I did. I was writing about them for art classes, art history classes. I mean, I wrote essays on them. I made short films about them. I started making projects with them. Like, I just became kind of this auxiliary part of the band and the class, and I would take friends and we would help out in class, and we would help the Kids of Widney High themselves get to gigs and things like that, since none of them can drive. And I just really became a part of the band, and they became a big part of my life. And for those in the cheap seats, I'm about to turn 40. I was about 18 when I met them, which means I've been friends with them and been working with them for more than half my life. So
wow,
they're a big part of who I am as a person. I got very involved in arts therapy after I graduated college and moved around the country working for different arts therapy programs, doing theater and movies and poetry work and all different kinds of things with people with disabilities at these different art therapy places all around the country. Met different people through that. And so it was just a huge life-changing moment for me to be introduced to Michael Monaghan and the Kids of Widney High. And the wrap-up of all of that is, as my career started to progress with my writing, with my film producing and other things that I was doing in TV and so forth, I decided I really wanted to do something to get the Kids of Widney High out there in a bigger way. And we tried all these things with films and with TV pilots and with different projects that we were doing. And especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was just very, very difficult. As a lot of people know, there's still a fair amount of taboo revolving around disability. Things are finally changing a little bit now. Crip Camp getting nominated for an Academy Award and some of the other things that have been going on over the last year or two, which is great. But it's a difficult topic for the higher ups in Hollywood and the media world to deal with, whether it's a positive spin on it or not. Yeah. So we kept hitting roadblocks over and over and over again. And we were having meetings with people at HBO, Comedy Central, MTV, VH1, and everyone loved what we were doing with the kids. Everyone loved the Kids of Widney High. But it really did come down to often, sometimes explicitly so, we can't deal with disability. So I came up with this idea of doing kind of a children's book based on the Kids of Widney High, working with them on it. I wrote the proposal over 10 years ago, started pitching it around. No one was going with it.
Yeah.
And just in the last 2 or 3 years, I started putting it out there again. We finally were able to get it going through this great company called Schiffer Kids. And
Yes.
voila, here it is, came out this last September. Blackstone Audio
Love
just did
it.
an audiobook version that just came out as well. And we're very excited about it. And now we have the Kids of Widney Junior High.
Yes.
Younger readers.
Love it.
The Kids of Widney Junior High take over the world. And I have the kids involved. They help consult with it. We have an interview at the back of the book with one of the Kids of Widney High members talking about the importance of projects like this and representation, who the Kids of Widney High are. And a portion of the profits also go to a nonprofit in Los Angeles called LA Goal, which
Wow.
has worked with the kids in the past and has been around for 50 years now, helping people with disabilities in different ways. And even since they are a band, we actually have a really cool feature where you can scan it with your device and download a couple free Kids of Widney High songs.
That's cool. Oh my gosh. Wonderful job. Wonderful job. Bravo to you. I love that. I think that is fantastic. I can't wait to get a copy of that. I think that me and my 9-year-old will really, really enjoyed reading that.
And that's a perfect age range.
Yeah.
I mean, it is for younger readers. It's what's known as a middle grade reader. So there's children's, like straight up children's books, like a picture book, you know, 5, 10, 15 pages, lots of pictures and a couple sentences per page. And then there's YA, the young adult novels for kind of the tweens and the teens, Twilight and Hunger Games, things like that. Middle grade is sort of the right in the middle. So it is, you know, it's a bit long for a younger reader. It's 80 or so pages, you know, but the font is a bit bigger and there's pictures and things like that. So technically middle grade is for ages 6 to 12. But I think if you're reading the book, maybe to younger kids, they would be able to enjoy it as well. And then I think older kids could really like it too. And frankly, I know a lot of adults, friends of mine and friends of friends who have read it, who are well into their 50s and 60s.
And
really
love it.
Yeah, the way you can enjoy as an adult a Roald Dahl book or a Judy Blume book, or
exactly,
like you know, Shel Silverstein, Little Prince, Phantom Tollbooth. So that's it's what's known as transgenerational. Where it is for really all ages. You know, Pixar does a really good job of this at their best, where they'll make a movie like Finding Nemo that technically it's for kids, but adults can really enjoy it as well. And that's what do with the Kids of Widney Junior High take over the world. So
I love that.
A children's book, but I think enjoy it, and people clearly are, who are all, of all ages. So.
That's so fantastic. And what an honor for those kids to be able to be celebrated. And like you said, have the stigma and the idea that a disability or something that makes you different, you know, separates you from the rest of the human race. It's just not the case. We're all different in our own way. I mean, I don't have a beard like Mathew. Come on now. Nobody's going to judge me for that. But, you know, we all just need to be so kind to everyone and realize everyone's on their own path and their own journey. And the more kindness and understanding that we bring to the world and give them this sense of inclusion, the better our future will be, you know, for generations to come. So I know that that's both your and I's, you know, hope for bringing these types of literature into the world, is that we can really celebrate and honor these kids that just don't get to be seen the way they deserve to be.
Yeah, and I will say, obviously this has caused some confusion in the past. One of the reasons we call it the Kids of Widney Junior High is the kids, quote unquote, of Widney High at this point are all in their 30s and 40s. As I said, the band in different lineups has been around since the late 80s, because basically it was a music class at this special ed high school, and whomever was in the class was in the band. But sometime around the early 2000s, a particular group came together that kind of became like the Kids of Widney High. Some of that I think was because they put out a couple of albums. And also they were in this movie called The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville and Katherine Hagel and Brian Cox, executive produced by the Farrelly brothers, and also Dr. Tim Shriver, of course, of the Special Olympics. Heart was in the right place, and Knoxville and a lot of the Jackass guys actually became very supportive of the Kids of Widney High, were very helpful. They gave us one of their editors, this guy Mark, to work with us on some different projects. So they were really great people. The movie itself, you know, has its problems. and whatnot. But the kids were prominently featured in it, and that was really great, and certainly got them a lot more recognition and awareness. We were able to set it up so the kids actually played the premiere of the film at the Directors Guild of America, and all these different celebrities were there, Spike
Wow.
Jonze and all these different people like that. So that was fantastic. So that kind of became the band, and even after they graduated Widney, sort of stayed the Kids of Widney High. So that's why the group now, you know, they are in their 30s and 40s. And that's why also I wanted it to be the Kids of Widney Junior High.
Yeah.
So I kind of aged them down, and they were okay. And I talked with them about that. They were okay with that. They got why we did that. Similar to how you have, you know, the Muppet, then you have the Muppet Babies.
Yeah.
So younger kids can kind of connect with it a little bit more. And they agreed that that was an important part of it. And in fact, the school in the book, Widney Junior High, is both special ed and conventional students as well. So and we were, and that way we were able to kind of talk about the interaction between kids who are not in special ed and kids who are, because that was something that was really important for us as well, because we wanted this to be a book that kids with disabilities could read and see themselves in, since that's so noticeable in children's books. But we also wanted to be something where kids without disabilities can read it, see themselves as well, and kind of get a better idea of how to interact with their friends or classmates.
I love that.
Class, so we wanted to do both at the same time, and that was really important for us.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that I myself don't have a disability per se. So I wanted the narrator, I wanted the main kid to not have a disability, because I didn't feel comfortable, of course, speaking for somebody with disability in that regard. So that way I was able to have a kid without disability who's kind of introducing the Kids of Widney High and getting to know them. But also, meanwhile, the characters based on the Kids of Widney High were also there and forefronted as well. And as I said, I was speaking with them constantly. Just to get advice and consultation, and many of the stories and things that happen, things they say, the kids have said to me, or we've talked about, and so forth. So it's almost a little bit of a biography of myself and of the Kids of Widney High themselves. And again, they were fine with all that and really liked it, and they were glad that something like this was happening. So
absolutely,
just kind of find that comfort zone where we could do everything we wanted to do without, you know, leading to any issues or whatnot. Especially these days when, you know, it's so easy to trigger or whatever. I don't even
sure.
Careful and also still present something that would deal with the topic in a very authentic, genuine way. So, you know, that was a lot of what, you know, that walking that fine line was all about. So, and it seems like we did that. We've gotten nothing but praise and positive reviews on Amazon and everywhere else. We had Maya Bialik, of course, from the show Blossom and Big Bang Theory. She has a show on now, Call Me Kat. She was a huge fan of the book. She's become a big fan of the Kids of Widney High. She's offered us so much support. She's posted about the book. She's posted videos about it. She's been telling people to read it. So we're really happy to have someone like Maya on our side. The kids have also worked with some pretty big musicians in the past, like Jackson Brown, and he too has been a big support for the book and the band, and helped them with their second album. So, you know, the kids themselves have, you know, although they are pretty niche and kind of a cult band type of thing, they do have fans like that who have been helping us to get the word out about the book and about what they do.
And where can we find the book? Give us the good info.
So, you know, I always hate to say this. These days, unfortunately, we all have to play the Amazon video game. Ordering it from Amazon is going to be the most help for us, unfortunately, because the more people are ordering it from Amazon who are viewing it on Amazon, that gets the recommendation algorithms going and such. It's a lot of things that I also write about and talk about issues with tech stuff. So you can order it on Amazon. You can order the audiobook version on Audible. There's also a Kindle version. But the other side of me also likes to always say, you know what, support your local bookstores, especially right now. It's so important that we have local bookstores, mom and pop shops. And, you know, this was not self-published. This was not a vanity press. This was put out through this really kind of small but spunky little publisher called Schiffer and Schiffer Kids. So, you know, it's available at, or could be available at any bookstore. Audiobook version just came out, as I said, through Blackstone Audio, which is one of the biggest audiobook companies worldwide. And frankly, again, a lot of that happened because of the success of the hardcover. And a lot of that was thanks to people like Mayim telling everybody to check it out. And so we're really
so cool.
for doing that. So it's been relative to the size that it's at, a success. So really, you should be able to find it anywhere. So, buy it from Amazon if you want. It's certainly going to be the most convenient probably right now for a lot of people. But I also do like to say, try to support your local bookstore if you can.
I love that.
And order it from there as well. And some of them might actually have it, because I was actually contacting different independent bookstores around the country at one point to really try to get it out there and to help them to do little videos and things special for each little bookstore in Austin and Baltimore and Chicago and different places, LA, of course, around the country, to kind of get the word out. But also it really was about trying to show, hey, these bookstores still exist. They're if they're struggling right now, or some of them had to close down for lockdown, still check them out. And they're doing things like having these great books like the Kids of Widney Junior High take over the world. So you can get it anywhere.
Fantastic. I love that. And once again, if we want to find out more about other books you've written or films that you've worked on, where is somewhere we can find all of that fabulous information?
So my website is www.mathewklickstein.com. That's MathewKlickstein.com. And there's plenty of links to the book, plenty of links to some of the videos and things that we've made with the Kids of Widney High. Of course, as you can imagine, the Kids of Widney High's own website is Kids of Widney. That's WIDNEY high.com. You can check that out. And then because part of the profits of our book go to that great organization, LA Goal, you should check them out as well.
Yes.
It's Goal, GOAL.org. And frankly, I will say, if anyone's really interested in this topic, LA Goal has been hit very hard by a pandemic and COVID, and it really affected a lot of their clients and the organization itself. They were really, really struggling, especially in the very beginning. We were very nervous about whether they were going to be able to keep going, which is a shame, because they literally just celebrated their 50th anniversary. They did so much good work for the community, including working with the Kids of Widney High. They actually, artists at their program there, they created the artwork for the Kids of Widney High's third album, my personal favorite, Act Your Age. So we really want to see that they keep going. So if anyone's listening to this or watching this and wants to help out in more direct ways, in addition to supporting the Kids of Widney High in our book, please check out lagoal.org. And if you can donate time, money, resources, anything else, computers, please do, because they can certainly use that help right now.
100%. And I'll make sure to have all of those links down in the description and everywhere where you can find Mathew and his works and the Kids of Widney High. And thank you so much for being with me here today, Mathew. It's such an honor to talk to you. We have an Uncle Matt in our home too. And so Uncle Matts are just some of our favorite people, right?
there's always plenty of Matts. When I was growing up, I was always Matt K. And inevitably, whoever was the other Matt, we would become best friends. It really got to a point where if I'd go to a summer camp, or if I would go to some, kid event or something like that, and there was another Matt there, I just knew, that's going to be my best friend for the weekend, or that's going to be my best friend for the summer.
Love it.
Because I would inevitably become best friends with the other Matt. So it would always be Matt K and Matt M, Matt K and Matt P. Even when I got a little older, I had a friend in San Diego named Matt, and we had a band called Two Matts Too Many. We never played any music, we never recorded to, but anytime we'd go anywhere, we would go as Two Matts Too Many, and people would, hey, Two Matts Too Many are here.
That's funny.
So yeah, that was always a lot.
I like that.
I will say, just because it comes up a lot, my name really is spelled though with one T.
One T.
My mom, being the lifelong hippie that she was, she purposely had me at our home in Southern California and had a midwife and the whole thing. And so the midwife apparently misspelled my name on my birth certificate. And in fact, it did cause some problems when I was getting my driver's license when I was 16. The entire first 16 years of my life not knowing my name was spelled a little differently with one T. And thereafter, because of all the Matts that I knew, this way I'm at least a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
I knew by that point already at 16,
That's
I was
funny.
A professional writer, filmmaker, something. I said, okay, this way I can have a slightly different name.
There you go. Stand out.
So it's Matt with one T.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today. It was such an honor to talk to you, and such a pleasure to learn about all of your projects. And thank you for doing such an amazing job out in the world.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, definitely everyone should check out the Kids of Widney High's music. One thing I always like to say is that if you want to call it a gimmick or trend or whatever you want to call it, as far as it being a band of people who happen to have disabilities, that's not really what the Kids of Widney High are about. In fact, many of them in the band like to say, they don't want to be associated with that, because then that's all that they become.
Yeah.
The music itself really is very powerful. It's so much fun. It too is very transgenerational.
Yeah.
I think 4-year-olds can enjoy it. I think 40-year-olds can enjoy it. I think 80-year-olds can enjoy it. And when you go to Kids of Widney High shows, you see all different kinds of people there, young, old, people with mohawks, people with suits and ties. It's so much fun to go to Kids of Widney High shows, and I can't wait for, once lockdown's over, we're hoping to do some kind of reunion show or something like that. In fact, we were going to right before the pandemic. We already had it all set up because the kids haven't played in a few years. But with the book launch and everything, we were hoping to do some events and things. So we're hoping to get that going again. And certainly, if you've gone this far in the interview and are into this, we will be trying very hard to do some shows again, and that kind of thing, probably in LA. So,
absolutely.
Check out their music, because it really is something very special.
Worth checking out 100%. Thank you so much for being here. We will definitely be keeping in touch and check back with you to see what new exciting things you might have going in the future.
Great. Thank you, SJ.
Great. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Kind of guy that keeps you warm at night when you are cold. I'll grab some blankets from my bed, wrap them around your chest, and I'll pull you close. We'll flip some channels to find out there's nothing on right now to ease your mind. Sit back, relax, there is no rush, no need to speed things up. All we have is time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. The kind of love that we've been dreaming of when we sleep at night. We'll get a little house to live in, have a couple kids, and we'll sleep tight. 'Cause baby, all we really need are just a couple things to stay alive, and everything else in between. Just trust my heart, you'll see. We're slowly coming. Time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you.